Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Here we go, Steelers. Here we go. Welcome into the Steelers Talk Live Show. I'm your host, Jack Sperry. That is your producer, Jeffrey Cooperstein. We've got a bunch of great stuff to cover today, man. We got 3 great segments of Steelers content coming your way. And thank you guys so much, all the real ones that are showing up at the beginning of today's show. We're going live here on a Wednesday instead of our normal Thursday live show day, because tomorrow I'm going to be doing our Chat Sports' Thursday night football coverage of Commanders versus Eagles. So today was the day to get it done. So I appreciate you guys amending your weekly schedules here to come talk some Steelers football with us. First up on today's show, the latest Steelers news and rumors are going to be centering around Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., and a couple players that Mike Tomlin and Omar Khan brought in for a workout earlier today. Let you guys know the very latest surrounding the black and gold. Then we'll get into a little bit of a nerdy video. And Coop, you know how much I love my nerdy videos here.
You love nerdy videos?
We are going to be breaking down how Mike Tomlin dominates rushing quarterbacks. All right, it's going to be absolutely fantastic stuff, man. I cannot wait to get to that today. Then also, we've got the live Q&A. So if you guys got a question on the black and gold, you got a question on Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Broderick Jones, Mike Tomlin, anything else, and you guys want to get on the show right next to me right here for our live Q&A segment, all you guys got to do, and the real ones know this, use hashtag Steelers down there in the comments section or super chat to get on the show. Let's see who all the real ones are in the chat right now, Coop. We got Myas in here. We've got Cassie, my lovely girlfriend, is here. We've got Pat Lepla. Pat's asking if I received the email. Yes, Pat, I got your email, and your jersey is on the way. We got Christian Andujar. He said, did you see Coward's power rankings today? OMG, this guy is a clown. I did not see his power. I think he usually does his herd hierarchy on Tuesday, so I don't think it came out today. I think he had the Steelers, I think 7th or 8th.
Let me look.
Which is a little bit low for me, but I mean, he's come a long way. Uncle Colin has gone from saying the Steelers will win 5 or 6 games this year to saying that they're Seahawks light. So I think that Uncle Colin is starting to come around a little bit here.
He's always been a Steelers hater.
He hates the Steelers for sure, man. He's in one breath he'll say Mike Tomlin's a great Super Bowl winning head coach, and then he'll say he's outdated, like in the same breath.
Like, which one is it?
Yeah, it's like he just plays both sides of that argument. Got Omar's Burner in here. We got Thomas Warrington here. Christian Andujar is here. Pickens Burner is here. Damian Roy, my man, is here. Dylan Lewandowski. Brian Hagan's here. Brock Walker, Lil Slush, Kenneth Leonard Sr. Is here. We've got Michael Hansen. Terza is here. What's up, Terza? Good to see you. We got Gary Frank. We've got who else? We got Heatblade 202. Professor's here. We've got Lil Slush. And Kermit is my God. We got a bunch of great people in this chat ready to talk some Steelers football today. And don't forget, guys, get your questions in today for today's mailbag by using hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. And if you guys want to tip us here at Steelers Talk and you guys want to send in a little bit of a donation, if you guys want, this is where you guys can find us on Venmo, Cashapp, or PayPal. Every single dollar goes towards helping us improve our content here on Steelers Talk. So I'm talking improved graphics, improved equipment, improved office space, all this stuff that we use at our disposal here at Chat Sports. All of your donations go towards that. So if you guys want to send in a donation today, it's not required by any stretch of the imagination. All we care about is that you love the Steelers and you want to talk some ball with us today. But if you guys want to send in a donation, and by the way, YouTube, if you send in a super chat, that takes 30% of the money there. With Venmo, Cash App, and PayPal, we get to keep more of the money that you guys send in. So if you guys want to send in a Venmo, you guys can find me at Jack-Sperry, money sign Captain Jack 19 on Cash App, or at Captain Jack Rabbit on PayPal.
Just wanted to quickly shout out Omar's Burner. He sent in a $10 super chat last night on my Maverick stream, so appreciate you,
Omar's Burner, you're a real one, my friend. And speaking of Omar's Burner, he's one of our many black diamonds here at Steelers Talk. And F. Sperry in the chat, I still haven't gotten to all the stickers here. But I'm going to get to them this weekend here, and I want to give a big shout-out here to all the people that have put in at least $500 on a singular Steelers Talk stream. This is the lifeblood of this community. And guys, if you're sitting at home and you're saying, man, $500 to join Black Diamond Club, that seems like a lot. Well, guess what, man? A lot of the people in this club actually didn't pay for their own memberships. It was donated via a benefactor like Platinum 666, Kurgan Cold, or somebody else. And the people that we give Black Diamond memberships to when they put in those $500s and $1,000 Venmos on our watch parties is we give these memberships to the people that are in the chat. They're watching all of our shows. They're liking the videos. They're subscribed to the channel. They're just and they're hyping everybody up in the chat as well. So if you guys want a future Black Diamond membership, it's definitely possible, if not likely, that Platinum 666 and Kurgan will go on a little bit of a spending spree again, and we'll be giving out more Black Diamonds, and I'm going to be giving it to the people that are always in the chat, always supporting the channel. So make sure you guys always get in the chat and you like the videos, all that great stuff. I want to give a big shout out here to Christine Miller and Thick Klappa, our latest Black Diamond editions. And if you guys want to be the next Black Diamond here at Steelers Talk, you guys can send in 500, or you guys can be a big supporter of the show and wait for somebody to donate it to you. But I appreciate you guys. My name is Jack Sperry. A lot of you guys know that, but if you guys are new to the channel, you guys haven't followed me on X yet, I put a lot of my film analysis and stuff on my X account because here on YouTube, we get demonetized if we show NFL licensed video. So that's why we don't show video highlights and stuff like that here on Steelers Talk. So if you want that additional content, you guys can find it on my X. And also, if you guys haven't followed me on X yet, here's an opportunity for you to get a free raffle entry for our jersey raffle on Sunday's watch party. All you gotta do is click that follow button on X. It's free to do so, and you get a free raffle entry if you do so. This is only going to apply to people that haven't followed me on Twitter yet. So if you guys want a free raffle entry for Sunday's raffle, you guys can go on to X and give me a follow. I greatly appreciate your guys' support. Okay, guys, let's get the party started. Type those me's in the chat. If you've liked the video, we've got 120 people watching live. We need to get to 50 likes before we get into our first segment today, man. The real ones know. Clicking that thumbs up icon is the fastest and easiest way to help out our show. It only takes a half second of your time, and it really does help the YouTube algorithm, guys. So if you guys want, please click that thumbs up icon. We need to get to 50 likes before we get into our first segment today. We got Damien, we got Terza, we got Jacob Wizarek, we got Guilty King, we got Thomas Bradshaw, we got Hervey Dunn in here, we've got Michael Hansen, Derek Smith is here. What's up, Derek? We got Steeli, we've got Ben, Billy, Damien. We got our first super chat of the day. We got Josh. We got Ben. We've got Exit. We've got Kenneth Leonard Sr., Billy. The Jerk is Mine is here. Michael Wingo. Keep typing those thumbs up icon. We just got to 51 likes today. So before we get into our first segment here, let's get to this super chat here. And I believe it's from Mr. Gary Frank coming in with a $5 super chat. And he says, do you think Herbig will be a good replacement for Fitzpatrick? I don't know what he means by Fitzpatrick. I mean, Herbig is
different positions.
Yeah, but Fitzpatrick is a safety.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And neither. Yeah, I don't know.
I think he means for Highsmith.
Do you mean for Highsmith here, Gary? Because if that's the case, then yeah, I think that Herbig is going to be more than capable. I think he's shown that when he's been on the field. He's been awesome this year. So, it's nice to have Herbig back when Highsmith goes down. You never want to see a guy, especially as good as Highsmith, go down with injury. But if he does go down, it's nice to have another person come into the fold here in Nick Herbig.
Long term, do you think Herbig could be a number 2?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now he's good enough to be a number 2 on most NFL football teams. Yeah. It's just the Steelers already have TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. So Herbig has been awesome. I love his speed and his get off the edge, and I love his bendiness, his ability to really dip and get below a defender or below a blocker.
Low center of gravity.
Low center of gravity, get around him, making tight angles around the offensive tackles to get to quarterbacks. He's a really special talent, man, and I'm really excited to see him play this week against Baltimore in a full-time starting role. So coming up here, our first segment of the day, the latest Steelers news and rumors. We're going to talk about Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., a little bit about Deontay Johnson as well. Of course, the Steelers will be playing DJ in a different uniform for the first time this weekend. And, of course, it's in a Ratbirds uniform. So that's going to be very interesting. Then we'll get into our spotlight video today, which is I'm going to be getting pretty nerdy with you guys. I'm going to tell you the exact way that the Pittsburgh Steelers attack rushing quarterbacks. So very nerdy segment coming up on our second segment today. And remember, get your questions in. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat.
We've only got 1 or 2 in right now.
Exactly. So if you guys want to get your question in for free, get those hashtag Steelers in there in the live chat, and you'll be getting on screen here before the end of today's live show. I appreciate your guys' support. Let's get into this first segment here, the latest news and rumors surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we've got the latest news and rumors surrounding the black and gold to cover on today's show. First up, I'm going to be breaking down why are people slandering Minkah Fitzpatrick. I've seen a lot of this on Steelers Twitter, and today I'm going to nip that in the bud, tell you why Minkah Fitzpatrick is actually having a very good season here in 2024. Then we'll go into Joey Porter Jr., another guy I'm seeing getting some slander on Steelers Twitter, and why I think that he is still a very good and a legit number one corner in the National Football League. Then we'll finish up today's show with what Mike Tomlin had to say about Deontay Johnson, kind of taking a little jab at him on Tomlin Tuesday yesterday. Now, before we get into the show, man, make sure you click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. It really does help out the YouTube algorithm. It helps out the show. It takes a half second of your time. It really does help us out here, guys. So I want to extend my gratitude for all the support you give to the channel. Make sure you click that thumbs up icon to help out today's video. Okay, so let's get into Minkah Fitzpatrick here, because I'm seeing a lot of people on Steelers Twitter saying, man, he doesn't have an interception this year, so he stinks. And it's like, this is just the most base argument I have ever heard in my life. And it just, if you say this on Steelers Twitter, I think you're kind of telling on yourself that you don't actually watch the Steelers defensive film. Because when you watch the film, Minkah Fitzpatrick is flying around. He's playing instinctive football. And honestly, opposing offenses are avoiding him. So I think people look at the reduced number of PBUs according to his career average. You look at the reduced number of interceptions, no interceptions to this point, and you look at kind of the lack of true impact plays that are super easy to identify on Sundays. I can understand why people are like, where's Minkah Fitzpatrick? But it's kind of hard to make those impact plays if they never throw it your way. And that's what's been happening with Minkah Fitzpatrick this year. The Pittsburgh Steelers this year on defense, on throws over the middle of the field, only 64 catches. That's first in the NFL. Okay, so they're allowing the least amount of catches over the middle of the field in the National Football League. And then also, they're allowing the lowest amount of yards in the National Football League this year as well, with passes over the middle of the field. So offenses are just straight up avoiding Minkah Fitzpatrick. And guys, over the middle of the field, you have any idea where Minkah Fitzpatrick lines up most of the time? It's right here in the middle of the field as a single high deep safety. And he's going into the middle of the field. He's buzzing into that hook zone as well. So he is somebody that offenses are identifying and saying, we're not even going to mess around with Minkah Fitzpatrick. He is so good. And, you look especially at the teams with good quarterbacks that know how to identify top players, guys like Aaron Rodgers that have been doing this for a long time. They completely avoided Minkah Fitzpatrick on the field. They always identify where this guy is on the field because he is so instinctive, and they know that he can be a game-wrecking talent. They've seen him do it on film for multiple years at this point, and that is why you don't see the big-time splash plays for Minkah Fitzpatrick this year. And honestly, guys, I do think that you're going to see some of those splash plays later in the season. I'm not saying Minkah's going to have no interceptions this year, right? But I do think that he's getting a little bit of slander on Steelers Twitter because he's not having those splash plays, and that's what fans usually only care about. So I look at Minkah, I think he's a really good player. And then also, if you look at the PFF grade, all right, and listen, PFF grades aren't gospel, but right now he is tied with Deshaun Elliott, somebody that on Steelers Twitter people praise all the time. And I love Deshaun. I think he's been a great addition for the Steelers defense, and he's making some really nice plays as a box safety. He absolutely is. But Minkah Fitzpatrick's impact is just as good, if not better, because he completely dominates the middle of the field, and he really does make opposing quarterbacks avoid the entire middle portion of the field entirely. So big shout out to Minkah and Deshaun Elliott for being a really dominant duo for the Pittsburgh Steelers on defense in the secondary this year, and they're a big reason why this defense is as good as it has been through the first 10 weeks of the NFL schedule. So true or false? Let me know if you guys think this is true or false, okay? Minkah is still a top 10 safety in the NFL today. Type T if you think that's true, or type F if you think that's false. In just a second here, I'm going to be telling you guys about our sponsor today at Prize Picks. And while I'm talking about Prize Picks, let me know if you still think Minkah Fitzpatrick is a top 10 safety. Okay, now let's talk about Prize Picks, our sponsor today. And Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone this sports season. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if your picks don't hit. Or if one of your picks doesn't hit. Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. And when my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Also, Prize Picks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where every Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And guys, it's more than just football. Basketball and hockey season just got going. There's some big fights coming up very soon. You guys can get your Prize Picks projections in on all these different sports. If you guys want to get in on the action right now and start having some fun watching these sporting events, download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use code CLNS after playing your first $5 lineup on the Prize Picks app today. Prize Picks, run your game. So another player that I've been seeing getting a little bit of flack, especially after this last game against the Washington Commanders, is number one corner for this Steelers defense, Joey Porter Jr. Now, of course, the Steelers took him at the top of the second round just a couple of drafts ago. Had a really, really promising rookie campaign. And this year, I think that on film, he's been pretty darn good. But let's take a look at his numbers here from a statistical point of view. So he's allowed 26 catches, 365 yards, a passer rating of 94.5, and a 54.0 PFF grade is what he's sitting at right now, which right now is 91st out of 109 cornerbacks. So PFF doesn't really like what Joey Porter Jr. has been putting on film this year. So let's compare that to the 11 starts that Joey Porter Jr. had last year. Okay, so he's already given up more catches this year. He only allowed 25 catches in 2023. He allowed 385 yards total in 11 games started last year. He's already approaching that number. He allowed a lower passer rating last year at 68.8, and his PFF grade was higher than it is this year. So there's some people that are saying Joey Porter Jr. has been a disappointment this season. Now, for me personally, as somebody that watches every single snap of this team, both live on the watch parties we have out here on Steelers Talk, but also multiple times on film, I'm not too worried about Joey Porter Jr., okay? And, you know, there are instances where he's too grabby and he gets too many penalties. There, especially in that last game against the Washington Commanders, there's some times where he goes up against a true number one receiver like a Terry McLaurin, and he absolutely toasts him. I mean, out of the 65 yards that he has given up this year, a lot of that came against Terry McLaurin last week, who put up 5 catches for 113 yards just last week. All right, so Joey did not have his best game against the Washington Commanders, and I think a lot of the negative stuff that we've been discussing here, it can really be attributed to really this one game against the Commanders. I think when you look at the big picture here of the entire season, Joey Porter Jr. has played very similarly to how he played in his rookie season. Not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, still plays a bit undisciplined at times, but he is still shutting down number one receivers at a very reliable pace. Here is the current data right now when it comes to the highest lockdown percentages. Okay, so this is the percentage of snaps where obviously the defender is in pass coverage, where the cornerback shuts down the opposing wide receiver. Right now, Joey Porter Jr. is first in this category according to Pro Football Focus with a 65.42 lockdown rate. He was also tops in the league in this category last year, and the reason why this is because he is so physical. Now, that physicality is going to lead to some dumb penalties at times, but I'm going to take the shutdown percentages against these number one wideouts every single day of the week, and I do think as Joey Porter Jr. gets better and better throughout the course of his career. I think that, like I said, guys, I think he's just going to get better in this defense the more he plays in it. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comment section. Is Joey Porter Jr. a legit number one corner, or is he overrated? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section by giving me a yes or a no down there in the comments. Now, before I go here, we do have some final items to discuss here on Steelers Talk. First of which being a couple of workouts for the Pittsburgh Steelers at the safety position. Reported by Aaron Wilson this morning, the Steelers worked out Marquise Blair, former Seattle Seahawks safety, and then Eric Rowe, somebody that played for this team last year. He came in a really tough spot. Remember, the Steelers had all those safety injuries last year, and they had to go to people late in the year that were on the couch, and Eric Rowe was one of those players. He made some really big-time plays, had an interception. He was all over the place, man. He was really good in this Steelers scheme. So even though I don't think the Steelers necessarily need to add another safety, they honestly have too many safeties as is right now, with guys like Cam Sutton who can play safety. Terrell Edmonds is now in here, DeMonte KZ, and that's already adding to the two starters in Minkah Fitzpatrick and Deshaun Elliott. So honestly, I don't think the Steelers need a safety, but if you're going to bring one in on a practice squad deal, I don't mind bringing back Death Row whatsoever. He was a fan favorite and one of my favorite players last year that came in a big spot, helped the Steelers make the playoffs. So if they ended up bringing him back, I would have no issue with that whatsoever. Then the final topic on today's show is Mike Tomlin, during Tomlin Tuesday yesterday at his weekly press conference, kind of took a little bit of a jab at former Steelers wide receiver and new Baltimore Ravens receiver Diontae Johnson. Tomlin was asked, are you worried about Diontae Johnson this week? This is what Tomlin's response was. This is just perfect. He says he's not on a lot of their video, and so at this stage of the week, I don't know that I've weighed what he might mean to the matchup. The Ravens have bigger pieces than Johnson with larger roles that are occupying my attention at this part of the week. So pretty much Mike is telling everybody, yeah, Diontae Johnson isn't really a big factor in their offense. And, the thing that makes this so awesome from Mike Tomlin, and in true Mike Tomlin fashion, is that he's right. Okay, Diontae Johnson in the 2 weeks since being traded to Baltimore has been an absolute non-factor in their offense. All right, plain and simply. You take a look at his numbers here, okay, through the first 2 games. He has 1 catch for 6 yards. I think he has like 19 snaps. 22 snaps, producer Koopa is telling me here. 22 total snaps in 2 weeks. So he's not really getting on the field. And then when he is on the field, he's not getting the ball all that much, right? Zay Flowers is kind of that key guy that they have in that offense. And obviously that's an offense that runs the football a lot. So is Mike Tomlin wrong to say that Diontae Johnson is a relative non-factor in this matchup? Now, I don't think, you can't just let him go, right? You can't not pay attention to him. He is still a very good route runner, but is he priority number 1? Heck, I'm not even sure if he's priority 2, 3, or 4 in this Baltimore Ravens offense right now, and that's not really a slight against Diontae Johnson. That's just the truth. So let me know down there in the comments section, if you were at Acrisure Stadium this weekend, and once they announced Diontae Johnson out on the field, would you boo him or would you cheer for him? Personally, I'm a little bit petty. I'm going to boo for him. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. Type B for boo, or type C if you're going to cheer for him for his years of service here in Pittsburgh. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. That'll be the end of today's edition of Steelers News and Rumors. I appreciate all of your guys' support. We got more great Steelers content coming your way tomorrow and throughout the week, getting you guys ready for this highly anticipated matchup with the Ratbirds on Sunday. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. And until next time, here we go, Steelers. First segment in the books, Mr. Coop. We've got the nerdy segment coming up next. If you guys haven't already, get your question ready to go in the queue. If you got a question on Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr., like we discussed in that segment. If you got a question about Russell Wilson, Justin Fields, Mike Tomlin, Diontae Johnson, somebody else, let us know down there in the comments section. Hashtag Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show today.
One of the things that I thought was interesting in that segment was when we were talking about Joey Porter Jr., the numbers don't really, to me, reflect how he's played. I think he's been pretty good for the most part, and PFF disagrees, and that's fine, but it doesn't feel like
honestly, last year he was locked down, and they had him ranked like 65th, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's weird, though, because in their metric, their lockdown metric, he was tops in the league in that category last year.
Yeah.
And he's number 1 in that category this year. So, I mean,
where's the disconnect?
Where's the disconnect here? Are we really ranking in terms of our overall grade lower a player that's shutting down opposing number one receivers? I mean, I feel like that should be accounted more in their grade, and that's why you can't just rely on PFF grades, Coop, right? You have to watch the film. It has to correspond with the numbers and what they're putting out on film, all these different things. And for me personally, I think Joey Porter Jr. has played a lot better than what his PFF grade shows this year, but that's just my opinion,
It
right?
feels that way to me as well. I haven't noticed anything where I'm like, damn, Joey Porter Jr. really sucks.
And
I've not seen that.
last week, he had some lapses in man coverage, he gave up some big plays.
Dude, Terry McLaurin's a really damn good receiver.
Scary Terry is arguably a top 10 guy, but do you expect Joey Porter Jr. to play better than he did against Terry McLaurin? Yes, you do. You don't want to give him 113 yards or whatever it was in just 5 catches.
Yeah.
That is a lot of yardage, and that's on Joey Porter Jr. But I think that he's done a very good job throughout the course of his career at shutting down number one receivers with his physicality. And does that mean an occasional holding penalty and an occasional DPI? Yes, it will. And that's just going to be a thing with Joey Porter Jr. in his career. But if it means you're going to be shutting down opposing number ones most weeks in most situations, I'm going to be taking that, especially when you have Deshaun Elliott and Minkah Fitzpatrick taking away the stuff in the middle of the field, like we talked about in the last video as well.
The Minkah discourse is weird. I mean, like you said, people just aren't throwing that way because they know how good he is.
Yeah, and it's the same argument, Coop, where like Mel Kiper Jr. will be like, oh, this player doesn't have any interceptions in his 2 seasons as a starter.
Probably because they don't throw to
It's like, yeah, they don't throw in his direction. How can he intercept passes that aren't thrown his way? It's impossible, right? People understand how good Minkah Fitzpatrick is as a player, and they respect that enough to not even throw it in his direction.
Minkah would be a starter on maybe 31 other teams. Maybe.
Minkah would be a starter on literally every defense in the league. Every defense. I mean, he's that good. He's an all-pro caliber guy. He's still playing at a high level. He's not making the same amount of splash plays as when opposing offenses wouldn't go out of their way to avoid him, but he's making a big-time impact on this defense, man, and I'm tired of people saying that he's not a good player anymore because he doesn't have the interception production that he used to have. I'm just absolutely tired of it. Did we get a super chat of some sort?
Yeah, we got a couple.
All right, let's get to the super chats here. $2 coming in from my man Damian Roy, Black Diamond. Says, Sunday was awesome. Wish y'all were there. Damian was actually at the Commanders game, and he works at FedEx Field or Northwest Stadium, whatever it's called now. And he got some really cool videos of the Steelers in the tunnel and all these different things. So, Damian, I appreciate you sharing those with me, my friend. Appreciate you being a part of this community. Gary Frank with another 5 says, do you think Wilson is a Big Ben caliber quarterback? So, Big Ben in his prime? No. Big Ben at the end of his career, I would say he's better than what Big Ben was. Because Big Ben... But here's the thing about Big Ben.
Big Ben was a legit top 5 QB.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no question. I mean, Super Bowl champion, one of the great all-time clutch performers in Steelers history as well. And you can make an argument he's the best, like the most talented Steelers quarterback ever. Okay, not taking anything away from Big Ben Roethlisberger, but at the end of his career, he kind of took the deep ball out of his game, right?
He had no arm.
The arm strength definitely diminished. He was more of a go out and empty, and be a distributor at the end of his career. And there's nothing wrong with that. Steelers won some football games with him playing football that way, but Russell Wilson has brought back the deep ball to Pittsburgh. And, the Steelers play their best. I mean, look at what they did when they won their Super Bowl under Mike Tomlin. Who is the offensive coordinator? Bruce Arians. What is Bruce Arians known for? No risk it, no biscuit. Throw the damn ball down the field. All right, so the Steelers are at their best when they're allowed to play great defense. They can really run the football, and they can run the football at will, and then they keep opposing defenses honest by throwing the ball down the field. Russell Wilson is the perfect fit. This is what I've been saying since March when I first advocated for the Steelers to sign Russell Wilson. And by the way, I took a lot of flack for that, Coop.
Yes, you did.
In March when I said if I were the Steelers, I would sign Russell Wilson, and people said I was an idiot and that he was too old and that he was washed. And, a lot of people, and I was like, listen, man, just trust me on this. Russell Wilson's going to be a great fit here in Pittsburgh. And they ended up not only signing him, but he's ended up being a really good option here in Pittsburgh.
The South Park meme didn't make it on the show.
Oh, darn it. I was gonna put that on the show. All right, man. We got 180 people watching live. Make sure you guys get those questions in if you haven't already. Now, let's get into the nerdy segment here. I'm going to break down for you guys how Mike Tomlin attacks rushing quarterbacks and how it's different from much of the NFL world. It's really, really interesting here, guys. I can't wait to break it down with you guys. So without further ado, I'm not going to make you wait any longer. Let's get into our second segment. Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today, this is a really fun segment, man. It was really fun to put together because today, I'm going to be telling you guys how Mike Tomlin neutralizes rushing quarterback threats with this Steelers defense and why he's done it so consistently throughout his time as the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach. And if you appreciate Coach T like I do, man, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon. I really do appreciate your guys' support. And with that, let's get into today's content. And listen, man, I think that personally, when you look at the history of the NFL and all these rushing quarterbacks and how much success that they have had in this league, and then you look at Mike Tomlin versus these guys, and Tomlin just handles these rushing quarterbacks better than pretty much anybody else in the NFL defensive space, in my opinion. And, you know, we can look at some evidence for that. We can take a look at what Jaden Daniels, the runaway favorite for Offensive Rookie of the Year, did just last week here against the Steelers defense. A 50% completion percentage when this guy has been breaking records with completion percentage. He just had some really bad accuracy last week at certain times, and you could tell he was rattled. He also had just over 200 yards in total offense. I think he only had 5 rushing yards on the entire day. And it just wasn't a very good day for Jaden Daniels, man. And, you know, we've seen this guy light up defense after defense after defense this year, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were different. Then we look at Lamar Jackson, the premier rushing threat in the National Football League, and this is what his numbers look like against Mike Tomlin in his career in 5 games played. And really, there was one game where he only had 1 pass attempt, so it's more like 4 games, just to be honest here. But his completion percentage is below 60%. That's way below his career average. He has taken 20 sacks in pretty much 4 games, so that's 5 sacks a game. He only has 4 total touchdowns, so that's with his arm and his legs, and he has 14 turnover-worthy plays, 7 interceptions with 7 fumbles. Okay, so this is no defensive coordinators ever had this kind of success against Lamar Jackson. Plain and simply, this is a 2-time league MVP. So here's how Mike Tomlin does it against these rushing quarterbacks. Number 1, the Steelers live in single high coverage when they play these quarterbacks. Now, the Steelers really live in single high coverage quite a bit. This is kind of what they like to do. If you don't know what single high coverage looks like, it looks a lot like this, okay? And this is kind of just a base formation. This is a cover 1 look from the Pittsburgh Steelers this last week against the Washington Commanders. You got that single high safety here. That's Minkah Fitzpatrick. And then you've got corners on either side. And what that does, guys, is it allows you to put another player in the box, all right? So you can put Deshaun Elliott, Terrell Edmonds, whoever your other safety is in there, and you have another defender in the box to defend against the quarterback run game. Now, that's not revolutionary. Most teams in the NFL play single high coverage against Lamar and Jaden and these dynamic rushing threats. And another thing that the Steelers do, but they kind of do it at a higher level, is in the QB run game here, they do what's called charge and scrape techniques. Okay, and what a charge technique is, it's pretty simple. If a quarterback is in shotgun and they go to make the handoff to the running back, okay, at the mesh point, what the Steelers edge rusher is told to do, and most of the time it's TJ Watt, is to just run at the quarterback. Do not let him pull that football. And pretty much they're saying, we trust the rest of our defense to tackle the running back in that scenario. So the Steelers just don't really let opposing dynamic rushing threat quarterbacks pull the football all that much. But in certain situations, they'll go to a scrape technique. And this is why getting Patrick Queen to be your inside linebacker this free agency was so big, to have an athlete like that in the middle of your defense. Because what a scrape technique is, the edge rusher crashes down, and then to replace his gap there, the Patrick Queen or whoever the inside linebacker is going to go back over the top there and take the quarterback if he pulls the football. And having a guy like Patrick Queen, somebody that's one of the best athletes on the planet with insane sideline-to-sideline speed, like we saw last week against the Commanders, by the way, is so important. Why he's going to be an X factor this week against Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens as well. So coming up here, we got more ways that Mike Tomlin manipulates these rushing quarterbacks and really dominates them, and why you can expect Tomlin to do it once again against Lamar Jackson this week. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Public Rec. And guys, let's be real. Wearing nice pants sucks. Who decided that the stiff, uncomfortable fabric squeezing your family jewels was the key to looking sharp? Well, here's an early holiday gift from me to you. Those days are finally over. Public Rec's Daymaker pants are here to make sure you stay comfy and classy this holiday season. They feel like your favorite sweats, but look like tailored pants. Whether you're kicking back with holiday movies, making your way through leftovers, or watching bowl games with the boys, these pants have you covered. Heck, they'll even keep you looking sharp for that awkward holiday party with your in-laws. Give the gift of comfort to yourself or someone you love this holiday season with Public Rec's Daymaker pants. And for a limited time only, you guys can get 20% off your entire order with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. That's 20% off your entire order when you use promo code CHAT at publicrec.com. And guys, I'm actually wearing a Public Rec t-shirt right now. I love wearing these shirts because they're so soft, they're so breathable. And I'm somebody that likes to wear long sleeves, and guys, these fit me perfectly. Sometimes they can be too baggy, sometimes they can be too tight on your arms. It's just super comfortable sitting here at my office here at Chat Sports, working at my desk, and it's just all day comfort, man. I love it. Also, with the Daymaker pants and all their pants options, you guys get tailored options, which is huge for me because I'm tall and skinny. If I'm buying pants off the rack, they're usually too baggy or they're too short. With the tailored options from Public Rec, that won't be an issue for you any longer. It's been a game changer for me. It'll be a game changer for you as well. Stop suffering in regular pants and give the gift of comfort this holiday season. For a limited time only, our listeners get 20% off when you use code CHAT20 at checkout. That's 20% off with code CHAT20 at publicrec.com. After you make your purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you here at Chat Sports. Say goodbye to pants that put up a fight, because when comfort meets style, you've found Public Rec. So another philosophy from Mike Tomlin when he faces these rushing quarterbacks is more bodies equals less run lanes, all right? And pretty much what this philosophy comes down to here is that he doesn't like to send 4 rushers against a rushing quarterback because it opens up potential rushing lanes for these quarterbacks to exploit. So when you see them play the Commanders, when you see them play against the Baltimore Ravens, they're going to send 5 or even more men in pressure to give those quarterbacks less opportunities to escape and to use their legs in a way that destroys the defense. So John Kine is a reporter for the Washington Commanders for ESPN. He said this after Sunday's game. According to True Media, Pittsburgh sent 5 or more rushers, 19 snaps, a season high. Previous high was 11 versus the Giants last week. So the Pittsburgh Steelers ramped up their blitz rate significantly versus the Washington Commanders. Really the first time they played a significant rushing threat all season in Jaden Daniels. Remember, the Steelers have not played the Ravens yet so far, so that number is significant. And you take a look at what the Steelers were able to do the last time they played Lamar Jackson, which is all the way back to week 5 of last year. They blitzed him with 5 or more guys 27 times, which equated to 4 sacks. All right, so they're very, very aggressive, and they really do a good job at getting after Lamar when he plays this defense. And you look at the sack totals versus Lamar when he's played a full game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 4 sacks last year. Then you go back to 2021. He gave up 7 sacks in that football game on 2024. And then in 2019, he gave up 5 in that Week 5 matchup. So this is somebody that gets sacked a ton by the Pittsburgh Steelers. And really, he's not really used to pressure all that much because, teams usually don't pressure Lamar Jackson all that much, if you'll believe that. Then we get to another thing that the Steelers do a lot, especially on third downs against these quarterbacks, and that's double A mug looks. And they do this to open up their edge rushers and open up the opportunities for TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith on the edges here. So you guys can take a look here at the double A mug look. So what that means is that in the A gap here, you got 2 linebackers. You got Patrick Queen, and here you got Peyton Wilson up in the A gap. And what that does, guys, is it makes the opposing offense respect the A-gap pressure. So they have to account for these linebackers because if they run and they don't have a blocker for them, it's going to be an A-gap pressure right up the middle for the quarterback. So what this does is it creates one-on-one opportunities for Alex Highsmith, who's all the way over here, and then you got TJ Watt on the other side and playing in a wide formation too, which helps out the angles to get to the quarterback. So when they want to get to the quarterback on these third down looks, a lot of times they'll go to these simulated pressure looks, and then a lot of times they just send these linebackers back out in the coverage. And when you got athletes like Peyton Wilson and Patrick Queen, you can absolutely get away with these looks to create those one-on-one opportunities for your star edge rushers. And then when you do pressure, when you do get after Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, it's paramount that you keep lane discipline. You can't just rush out there and not have a feel for where other players are. You guys see a lot of times when teams play the Steelers, whether it's TJ Watt or Alex Highsmith, will get a quick pressure on the outside. The quarterback steps up, and then boom, Cam Hayward's right there to get the sack. Or the same thing happens, and then boom, Keanu Benton is right there to collect the sack. This Steelers pass rush does a great job of working together and not allowing any open space for these quarterbacks to escape in. Okay, so you can pressure as many guys as you want, but if they allow a lane to open up for these quarterbacks, it doesn't matter. You have to stay disciplined with these lane assignments, and if you don't do that, it's going to be very, very difficult to stop these rushing quarterbacks. I got one more thing that Mike Tomlin does that really solidifies what he does against these rushing quarterbacks here in just a second. But if you're enjoying kind of this nerdy Steelers football content, this is what I love to do here on Steelers Talk, guys. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Every time there's breaking news, I got you guys covered with a video. We go live at least 3 times a week, including our live watch parties for every single Steelers game. And it's all 100% free, guys. So help us get closer to that 70,000 subscriber mark. 67,000 of you guys have already clicked that subscribe button. So if you bleed black and gold, you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you want to join the largest and most interactive Steelers fan community here on YouTube, click that subscribe button for me right now. Then the final thing that Mike Tomlin asks of his defense when handling these rushing quarterbacks is to hold up in one-on-one coverage. That game against the Washington Commanders, when you watch them on film, they played more straight-up man-to-man coverage in that game than they had all season long, and it wasn't close. Usually the Steelers like to live in zone. They like to play cover 3. They like to play in cover 2, specifically Tampa 2. All right, they like to go to quarters looks, and they like to make some adjustments based on the alignment of the offense. All right, and what most teams do against rushing quarterbacks, all right, what most teams do is because with man coverage, the defenders in the secondary don't have eyes on the quarterback, okay? So if the quarterback escapes, then they don't know it, and that can lead to some really big gains for the offense, right? But here's what the Steelers do, okay? Instead of just sitting in the zone coverage like most defenses do, they do man coverage. Like we talked about, they send those blitzes, but then they have one-on-one coverage. So they really trust their rushers to keep that lane discipline that we talked about earlier, to not allow the quarterback to escape, and then they trust their backers on the backside to hold up one-on-one in coverage. And last week, honestly, if I have to admit something here about the Steelers defense, they actually didn't play all that well in man coverage last week. Now, the Steelers don't do that very much. I mean, they're mostly a zone team. But it's really weird because when most teams play more man against non-rushing quarterback threats, and then they switch to zone when they play those same rushing quarterback threats, the Steelers do the opposite. Against normal quarterbacks, they play a lot of zone, they play a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 2, and then against rushing quarterbacks, they play way more man. Mike Tomlin does the exact opposite, and it works better than the normal doctrine of the NFL because the Steelers pass rush is so gap sound, because they're able to do so many things. They're so savvy up front that the Steelers can get away with this strategy, and that's what Mike Tomlin brings to the table as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. So fill in the blank for me down there in the comment section. Mike Tomlin is a top blank defensive coach in football today. For me personally, guys, he's not like the most creative defensive mind. He's run pretty much the same defense for almost the last 2 decades. But it always works, man. And, this is a system that has been tried and tested and true with multiple different people, with multiple different personnel, and it works time and time again. Plus, Tomlin is a great teacher of this stuff, so everybody is well disciplined. All this fantastic stuff that Tomlin has been able to implement in the Steelers defense. So for me personally, I think that he's in the conversation for a top 5 defensive mind in the National Football League today. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you guys stopping by today and making it to the end of today's video. If you love nerdy Steelers football content like this, you want to learn more about this football team week in and week out, and you want to become an expert on this football team, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right now. So did you enjoy yourself during that nerdy segment there, Mr. Coop?
That was a very good one. I learned.
What's something you learned?
That the Steelers do stuff different than most NFL teams.
What do they do different? I got him, folks. But no,
the Steelers like to rush more than most.
Yes, they do. Because what's the thinking behind that, right? People don't want to blitz Lamar because if he gets past the blitz, then all of your defenders are behind him and he's running away, right? And people are scared of that. Mike Tomlin isn't scared of that because he trusts his defensive rushers to create that gap sound structure and to corral him. And it just works. And by the way, when you play man against a quarterback like Lamar, who is used to seeing like cover 3 all the time, like it just, it messes with his mind because he just doesn't see man coverage all that much. He doesn't have as much experience beating man as zone coverage like what he's used to seeing in his NFL career. So I think the Steelers do things differently than most NFL teams, and it works because not everybody has the balls to play it the way the Steelers do. But as Mike Tomlin likes to say, Coop, we don't live in our fears here in Pittsburgh.
We do not care.
We do not care. We do not care. All right, do we still need some questions to get in here?
I think we're good, but if you guys want to get your question on the show, you can use #Steelers or Super Chat. Super Chatting will guarantee your place on the mailbag.
Yeah,
if you don't Super Chat.
If you guys don't Super Chat,
it's on me.
You get mad at Coop. You don't get mad at me, all right? The only way it guarantees your spot on the mailbag is if you Super Chat. So speaking of Super Chat, we got a $5 Super Chat from my man Gary Frank. And we'll go over Gary's Super Chat here while the rest of you guys get your final questions in. He says, will Steelers regret not taking Najee's option next year? Maybe. We'll see how Najee plays the rest of the year. If he plays really, really well, then yes, you're going to regret it. If he plays okay, then maybe you like to have that optionality. And if he doesn't play well, then you definitely don't regret it.
I think you're in the territory where you're looking at a potential franchise tag for Najee.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to go, if he plays well the rest of the season, I think you franchise tag him, which is more than the 5th-year option that would have been. But the 5th-year option was pretty hefty.
It was.
And for a guy that was averaging, I can't remember what it was. I think it was like 3.3 yards per carry throughout his career, 3.5 yards per carry in his career to that point. That price tag to lock it in for another season, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So I understand why they declined his 5th-year option, but we'll see where it all ends up here. And at the end of the day, a franchise tag on a guy, if Najee Harris ends up being the guy here in Pittsburgh,
that's okay.
A franchise tag is perfectly fine. It's the running back position, so it's not going to be too expensive to franchise tag him. But I do think
it's probably $10 million-ish.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah. All right, man. Let's get into the questions now. The Steelers Q&A. Coming at you guys right now. By the way, while I'm in the mailbag segment, you guys can still get questions in, all right? So if you guys have a question that pops up while I'm talking, make sure you guys can still go down there and use #Steelers or Super Chat to get on the show. Welcome into the Steelers Talk Mailbag. I am your host, Jack Sperry, and today we're going to be talking about all the different topics you want me to talk about. I love these segments, and I love doing them every single week because you guys tell me what topics you want me to discuss, what questions you have after the week of content that we've had here on Steelers Talk. So make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you want to get a question on a future Steelers Talk mailbag, we go live usually every Monday and every Thursday, and we do our mailbags on the Thursday live shows. So if you guys want to get a question on a future edition of Steelers Talk, make sure you guys click that subscribe button, and then also join us at 5:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays to get your question on the show. Okay, I'll pause and open it up for questions here, starting with a $5 super chat from Gary Frank, who says, will Steelers regret not taking Najee's option next year? So I understand why the Steelers declined his option. It was a pretty expensive option, especially for the running back position. So I understand why they declined it. They wanted the optionality of this offseason. Like if he didn't have a good season this year, they wanted the ability to just get rid of him and start over and not have to pay him a big contract. But they also have the optionality here to just franchise tag him for, I mean, it's actually pretty close to what it would have been his 5th-year option if they franchise tag him. So I honestly think it was a smart move by GM Omar Khan. There's a lot of people, including myself, that were expecting them to take on the 5th-year option because he was a first-round pick, and he's a crucial part of this offense. But I see why they did it, and at the end of the day, I do think Najee, especially if he keeps playing at a high level, is going to remain a Pittsburgh Steeler through next season. Got one from Pickens Burner here. He says, how should Steelers use Cordero Patterson in this offense? Kind of hard to split snaps between 3 running backs efficiently. And the answer to that question, Pickens, is that Patterson's just going to get fewer snaps. And he's going to get fewer reps, plain and simply. And, you can use him a little bit as a bigger slot receiver if you want. They did that a little bit earlier in the year. But honestly, Patterson is more of a depth piece at this point. Now, people might point to some nice runs he had against the Colts and say he should be getting a bigger role, and that's fair enough. But I think that when you look at Najee Harris, Jalen Warren, what they provide for this offense, it's just a higher level of play over a longer period of time than what Cordero Patterson's going to be able to give you. Plus, there's a lot more tread on Patterson's tires than the other 2 guys. So I think Patterson is a really good depth piece to have. You get him in there in the 3rd guy in the rotation, get him a couple snaps a game. And if there's an injury, he can step in and be a really reliable number 2 back. But, what he is what he is, and what he is depth at this point in the season. Then we on from Brian Hagan. What's up, Brian? Says, what is up with Roman Wilson? I believe it was a hamstring injury he got a couple weeks ago. He was put on IR. And honestly, Brian, I wouldn't expect to see Roman the rest of the season. I don't think this is an injury that's necessarily like a season ender where like he has to miss the rest of the year. I think it's just like he's missed so much time at this point. They want to make sure he's healthy for the future. It's looking more like a freshman redshirt season type deal like it was with Calvin Austin III and Corey Trice Jr. They're hoping that Roman, after a good offseason this summer, can come back into the fall and really be a good player for this offense next year. So take a guess here. Will Roman Wilson play another game for Pittsburgh this year? Yes or no? I think that he's going to be healthy enough to play at some point this year, but especially with the addition of Mike Williams, I just don't know if Roman's going to get a helmet again this year, guys. We'll see if I'm wrong on that. This will be the pinned comment on today's show. So YouTube's going to throw you guys an ad break in just a second. When that happens, give me a yes or no. Will Roman Wilson play another game in a Steelers uniform this season? Got a $2 super chat from my man Zox. Says, final score predictions for Sunday's game. Coop, if you want to come on here and give your score prediction. For me personally, guys, I'm going to go, it's a little bit lower scoring than I think some people are expecting. I'm going to pick 23-20 Steelers win. Coop, what do you got?
I'm going to go 27-20. I think the Steelers once again lead a game-winning drive in the 4th quarter. Russell Wilson does it again.
Absolutely. 4th quarter Russ. It's absolutely a real thing, man. I was watching the film last week against the Commanders. Once the 4th quarter came around, all of a sudden Russell Wilson turned it up to a whole nother level. So love to have that type of quarterback in the Steel City. Next question coming in from Brock Walker. What's up, Brock? Good to see you. He says, can we keep up the consistency in the second half of the season, or will Mike Tomlin find a way to just go over 400 or 500? I think that the consistency will be there. And I think that, this is a Steelers team where, like, it's not going to, let's face it, the second half of the season is a gauntlet, all right? I know that the Browns and Bengals aren't as good as maybe the expectations were heading into the year, but these AFC North games, they're physical. It's going to be a tough schedule, all right? It's going to get the Steelers ready for the postseason. If the Steelers just win 3 more games the rest of the year, guys, they're at 10 wins, and that's going to be enough to get you to the postseason. So I think that the Steelers will get to at least 11 or 12 wins this year. I think they'll win 4 or 5 of their final, whatever is left on the schedule. And I think that they will be sitting in a very good spot to potentially win the AFC North this year. And I think that they are absolutely a team that not only can win 1 game in the postseason this year, but I think they can win multiple games and go on a legit postseason run that could end potentially in a 7th Lombardi Trophy for our Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, before we get to the rest of your questions today, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Prize Picks, which is the best place to get real money sports action all on your phone this sports season. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. How great is that? Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Also, PrizePicks now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your account this sports season. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, where each Tuesday, PrizePicks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. And it's more than just football this year, guys. It's basketball, it's hockey. Even when NASCAR's around, you can do NASCAR, and you can also put projections in on the big fights that are happening around the fighting schedule. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use code CLNS after playing your first $5 lineup on the PrizePicks app today. PrizePicks, run your game. Next question coming in from Christian Andujar says, AJ, what do you think Steelers are going to do this offseason with Fields and Russ? Who's getting re-signed? Right now, I mean, based on the way that these guys have played and who's starting right now, it's going to be Russell Wilson, okay? And it's going to be another at least 2-year contract. And, will he take a hometown discount here to kind of allow for the Steelers to keep more of their talent on defense? We'll see. I know that right now Russ is more focused on legacy than he is about getting paid. He's already been paid hundreds of millions of dollars. His wife, Sierra, obviously makes a lot of money as a global superstar. And they have a lot of money. Let's put it that way. Okay. What Russ wants is to feel the quote unquote chill of the trophy, as he likes to say. He wants to win Super Bowls and solidify his legacy as not only a Hall of Famer, but one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game. That's what he's focused on right now. And if he keeps it up and he plays this well the rest of the season, the Steelers are going to bring him back because they're trying to win now. They're not going to bring back Justin Fields because with Fields, they were a team that was like a playoff contender, but not a Super Bowl contender, probably out in the first round. I think with Russell Wilson, this offense has gone to another level, so you got to stick with the guy that's the higher performer at this point to try and win as many Super Bowls as you can in this era. Hey, we got a $50 super chat from King Yinzer. Anthony Fuller. Anthony, we are not worthy. Thank you so much for all of your support, my friend. And by the way, with the Salute to Service month here, thank you for your service, Anthony Fuller, for your service to our country. I appreciate your support for our channel and, of course, the service you've provided for the United States of America. Okay, now we get to Lucas Skew here, who says, do you think Beanie Bishop Jr. should be the starting cornerback? So I think he's asking, should he be the starting slot corner over Cam Sutton? Honestly, it sounds like Mike Tomlin is going to continue to play Cam Sutton more and more and more. He talked about expanding his role in the Steelers defense in his weekly press conference. So I thought Cam Sutton actually didn't play all that well against the Commanders. He gave up he got toasted multiple times. I don't think the long speed is there anymore for Cam. So honestly, right now, I prefer Beanie Bishop Jr. based on what I saw on Cam Sutton's film last week. But I certainly understand why they want the veteran presence of Sutton in the lineup. Then we got one from my man George Pickensburg. Says, if we beat the Ravens, are the Steelers arguably the best team in the entire NFL? Honestly, so they're in the mix is what I'll say, George Pickensburg. The way that the NFL works is that there's like a bubble of teams, right? 6 or 7 teams that really have a good, legitimate shot at making a run for a championship. And then there's like 3 or 4 teams that could be like a dark horse, or, if they get hot or, whatever the case may be, they could maybe make a run, but probably aren't legit contenders. I think the Steelers are absolutely in that bubble of 6 to 7 teams in the NFL with a legitimate chance to win. And honestly, at that point, man, it's a one-and-done playoff structure, right? Anything can happen. And, you just got to hope that the breaks fall your way, that you play well enough, that the coaching has you prepared, that the players are able to execute, especially in the biggest moments in the fourth quarter. But absolutely, George Pickensburg, I think that this team is certainly up there with the best teams in the NFL. And I think they have, at least standing right here, right now, I think they got a legitimate chance to hoist a Lombardi trophy this season. So if you guys want to click that thumbs up icon right now, I really do appreciate all of your guys' support. It really does help out the video. And it's a free and easy way to help out the show. So the real ones know clicking that thumbs up icon is the best way to support the channel on every single video you watch. So what are you waiting for? Help us out today and click that thumbs up icon. Got another $5 super chat from my man Gary Frank. Says, rumor has it Nick Chubb may be available next year. Is this someone the Steelers should go after? Now, if they let go of Najee Harris, then yeah, if Nick Chubb becomes available, I'm not sure the specifics on Chubb's contract. Is he a free agent? I'm not too sure. But he's somebody that's had multiple injuries. He is a power back, so he could be he could fit nicely in terms of his role if the Steelers want to get rid of Najee Harris. But honestly, I think the Steelers are just going to keep Najee. I think they're probably going to franchise tag him, especially if he keeps playing well for the rest of the year. And honestly, the Steelers got a good thing right now, man. They got a good engine in the run game with Najee and Jalen. Thunder and lightning combination there. They got a guy in Russell Wilson that's got a really good ball fake. He's got a great deep ball to work off of play action. I kind of like where the Steelers offense is at right now, and I think they're probably going to keep Najee around. Going from Hervey Dunn, my man says, Jack, do you think we sweep the Bengals, Clowns, and split with the Ratbirds? Honestly, I think I would if I have to guess right now, I'm going to say Steelers sweep the Ratbirds because F Baltimore. I think that they're actually more likely to split versus the Bengals. Now, obviously, the Ravens are a better team than the Bengals, but Joe Burrow has played very well against the Steelers in his career, okay? And Lamar Jackson has not. So if you just go based on previous career production, I think the Bengals and their offense could be very explosive. They've been explosive without T. Higgins on the field for much of this season. So I think Joe Burrow's playing about as good as any quarterback in football. He usually does well against the Steelers. So if I have to guess one team that the Steelers split with and then they sweep the other two, I say they sweep the Browns and Ravens and then they split with the Cincinnati Bengals. So predict it for me down there in the comments section. What will Pittsburgh's final record be this year? Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments section. For me, guys, I think they probably get around somewhere between 11 and 13 wins. It depends how this division record goes. If the Browns can steal a game against the Steelers, etc. I guess we'll have to see what happens here over the next several weeks. But make no mistake, I think this team is absolutely a playoff team. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks to everybody that submitted questions this week. Thank you to everybody that made it to the end of the video today. I'm slating this video to go out on Saturday, so the next time you guys will see me, I will be with producer Coop for our live watch party starting at 12 p.m. Eastern time for Week 11. Steelers versus Ravens, a big-time matchup. If you guys want to hang out with over 100,000 Steelers fans in the largest YouTube watch party for Steelers fans here on this platform, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. All right, so if you guys want to keep the party going, you guys can send in super chats. You guys can do whatever. You want to put up a shot clock here? And, good show today, man. I thought we had some good content for you guys. Remember, we won't be going live tomorrow. We're going live today instead because Thursday Night Football tomorrow. I'm going to be calling the Commanders and Eagles game here for our chat sports coverage on Thursday Night Football. So appreciate everybody for stopping by today. And if you guys have questions, Coop's going to put up the shot clock here. But let's talk a little bit about that Thursday Night Football matchup as we do on every Steelers Talk Live show. It's going to be an interesting matchup here, Coop, because both teams have had pretty favorable schedules to this point. Yep. I think the Commanders' opponents that they've beaten have a win percentage of about 33%, and then the teams the Eagles have beaten this year have a win percentage of 32%. So obviously that's well below 500 for both of these teams. They've kind of had cupcake schedules, and now they play each other in Philly. Jaden Daniels coming off that loss to the Steelers, very physical football team. I kind of feel like the Eagles are going to win this game just because it's tough to come off a short week playing the Steelers. Like, you know what I mean? It's a very physical team, and, it was a tough loss for them. I feel like the Eagles are going to win this one. Also, Marshawn Lattimore, the corner they traded for, still not available with that hamstring injury. And they got Benjamin St. Juste going up against A.J. Brown. Like, if St. Toast can't go up against Mike Williams, how is he going to handle A.J. Brown?
I don't disagree with you.
How is it going to happen, right? I'll probably go 34-28. Eagles win. And, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Commanders are going to be wearing the all-whites tomorrow. It's going to be icy.
All-whites? Is that game in Washington or in Philly?
It's in Philly.
Is Philly wearing the Kellys or the All Blacks?
I think they might be wearing all blacks.
That's a good uniform matchup.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe they're wearing the Midnights.
Philly's the hottest team in football right now, though, so they're playing really well. I can't stand Nick Sirianni. I think he's a joke, but
look at the teams they've played.
No, I know.
You know what I'm
They
saying?
haven't beat anybody great.
Who have they beaten? They've beaten like the Browns and the Giants and the Jaguars and the Cowboys. Like, they have played nobody over these last 5 games. The best team they beat was the Bengals.
We play the Eagles coming up, don't we?
Yeah, we play the Bengals in about a month.
No, the Eagles.
Yeah, we play the Eagles in about a month.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said Bengals.
Did I say, maybe I did say Bengals, but yeah, man, this is a good football team in the Eagles. Don't get me wrong. Their defense is starting to play better. Jalen Hurts is playing really well over the last several weeks.
Saquon as well.
Saquon's playing good ball too. So it's a very interesting matchup because it's 2 teams that have had a pretty favorable schedule, but they've been taking care of business, right? So I do think the Eagles win. I'm going to go 34-28. What's your score prediction, Coop?
34 points, you think, for the Eagles?
Yeah, I think A.J. Brown might have 2 or 3 touchdowns.
He might. Yeah, I could see it being high scoring, maybe like a 28-24 type game. The Commanders need a little bit of a bounce back after the Steelers game. So I think I'm going to take the Eagles to win. I'll go 28-23 Eagles.
Okay. All right, we got 30 seconds here to keep the show going if you want a super chat to get on the show. Otherwise,
shout out Anthony Fuller, by the way.
Shout out Anthony Fuller, man. Just dropping a 50. We appreciate you, King Yinzer.
He comes in, drops a 50, and leaves.
Has he not been active in the chat?
I haven't seen him.
That's funny, man. By the way, we just got a massive order that just came into Chat Sports Studios. Yeah. We got like 8 new Black Diamond jerseys. All right, so if you've been asking for your jersey to be on the show, we're going to have a whole rotation of new jerseys on Sunday.
It's coming.
All right, so if you have been waiting to see your jersey on a Steelers Talk watch party, we got a bunch of them this week, okay? So we're going to be rotating through those. I appreciate all of your guys' support. The clock has run out here. So we'll see you guys on Sunday. Tomorrow's Thursday Night Football, so if you guys want to come by the Commanders Report and watch some football with us, Coop, it'll be me and Joey, not me and Coop. But if you guys want to watch some football, we'll be over there tomorrow for the game. And we'll catch you guys on Sunday for Ravens Week, 12 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't be late. Appreciate you guys. And until next time, here we go, Steelers.